reaching out to make sure you're getting all the help you need. Exclamation point, smiley face. Ain't technology cool?
It is.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ServiceMonster Podcast. My name is Joe Kowalski. I am your host today. We're going to do some talking about employees, SOPs, and some tactile advantages of using things like WordPress to house them, and structures and naming conventions and all that stuff. But before we do that, housekeeping. Adam, what are we talking about today?
Well, first, just wanted to kind of welcome you back, Joe. We did the short podcast last week. Javi and I had a little bit of fun with that, but good to have you back.
And we'll pit stop on there for a moment because I don't know, not a lot of people know because I kind of keep it quiet. I have some royalty in the industry. I'm part of a lineage, as it were. I married into it, though. Steve Brandt, my father-in-law, he ran HydroMaster for decade and a half, 15 plus years, heavily involved in the industry. He passed away like a week ago. And it was a sudden shock to my wife, his daughter, and the family. Steve was a pretty big force in the carpet cleaning industry. Before him, Ed York, who got Steve in the carpet cleaning industry because he was the son-in-law to Ed York. And Ed got him involved, and it kind of went on from there. And I curse Ed now for putting me in the carpet cleaning vertical. Service Titan did the same damn thing we did several years later. We have better tech, and they're $1 billion company. Why? Plumbers and electricians have bigger tickets. There's a pit stop business lesson for you guys. If you're just in the beginning of your business and you're like, I'm going to grow a business, highest ticket wins. Get that invoice as high as possible. Service those clients who don't give a crap how much you charge because you're getting the job done for them. Give them an amazing service. Your life will be much easier. Trust me. Anyway, rolling that back. So Ed got Steve involved. Ed got me involved as well on a family reunion. I wanted to start a business. I wanted to be software. I wanted to be kind of software as a service. And he's like, do carpet cleaning. Anyway, so it was a big shock to the family. He went kind of suddenly. HydroMaster did a nice post about him, some pictures on a montage. He sold HydroMaster, his shares with Palmer in 07, 08. So he's been out of the game, although he's always kind of kept an eye out. But yeah, lots of people have reached out to my wife and all that stuff. So, yep, that's another thing on my personal side that's like giving me this balance crisis right now.
Right.
So, moving on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our thoughts definitely here, your ServiceMonster family with you and yours. So hope that Melissa's doing okay. There wasn't really anything major as far as, releases or anything like that this week. So I think we'll just dive right into SMUG. First post that I noted here was from Kevin about the custom card fronts and really just about some things that were in 5 that weren't in 6. So if you just want to kind of explain what you mentioned to him, we talked about the custom fronts a little bit on the FMS thing.
Yeah, Adam, you're such a tease.
I know.
Yeah, talking about stuff we're not quite done with yet. Well, we're almost there. We're so close.
Mostly just you could kind of explain the decision to not bring some of those features over from 5 was because of this.
Well, and we're still going to have a rash, especially with custom fronts.
Yep.
I am trying to be a short version, right? You guys suck at editing. That's like the shortest version I can get.
Not all of you. It's most.
Yeah. Care to J. Kowalski at ServiceMonster.net. Margins, too much text too big, rolling over. For a handful of reasons, we had 5. It was still cumbersome. You had to download a Word document and make some edits and then upload it. And yes, there were plenty of people, 60-70%, who were just fine. But the 30% who weren't were causing major delays because the people downstairs would see it and it would go to print, and before they would print, they'd be like, this is garbage. And so I'd have to kick it out of the batch. And then, you have to go back to support, and they'd have to reach out to the client and say, try again. So it made it really difficult. And I don't think it was in there the best way it could be to really hone in on the usability, right? We can force certain things and not give you freedom, but yet make it easy to have a custom experience. So we're coming out with custom fronts very shortly. The technology's all done. It's not gone through testing internally yet. We're going to start using them next week, is my understanding, on the cards that we send out to our new clients. So what's interesting is we have a fake ServiceMonster account. And then when new clients come in, we have a little piece of technology that automatically transfers it in. So it's almost like its own little CRM. And then it uses Fill My Schedule to generate. It all does this completely automated. They just show up downstairs. Right. And I've always been leery of having like a super flashy front because in custom and branded, because people are like, well, I want to do what you guys did. Well, you can't. But now you can. And so we're going to design a new hot front thank you.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to be the first consumers of this custom front concept. Make sure that it works on the printer and everything goes well. And then we'll do another pass, making sure all of the editing features, because right now I think internal staff set up Fill My Schedule and they use old CRM, which is a riot. I think it's one of the last things that we use it for. Yep. That and subscription management. Other than that, everything else is a new CRM. So they go in there when they don't really need to. There's a administration page within 6, and that gives you the ability to do editing and setup. And right now it's only available to support, but we want to clean that up, make it so the whole process is there, and then expose that to end users. So that's the idea. That's the long game. The short game is custom fronts, baby, because if it works for us, then we can upload it for you so we can start to get to work. And if you need custom fronts, contact Ryan Kittering. We'll put a link on the show notes. Yeah. It's coming, Ryan. I told you.
Nice.
So after that, then we'll at some point give you the ability to edit directly in 6. And then you won't have to mess with it. And if we do it right, the box will stay stop, because at the point font that we're going to give you, this is as many characters as you can fit in.
Right.
You're done. Too bad. That's it.
Sometimes you have to protect people from themselves.
You do. Now we're going to have the problem, though, with custom fronts. Somebody's going to take an image off of their website at 72 DPI and take it into Paint and MS Paint and copy and paste another 72 DPI trash logo on it and send that to us and call it good and wonder why their card looks like shit. And if you didn't understand anything I just said, don't do your own designs. 72 DPI, 300 DPI. Printers say 150, I say 300 minimum. And you'll get all that from Ryan. Right? If you try to do it yourself, you're going to get pixelated. It's going to be grainy. Even if you send us high-res stuff, unless you're doing it in Photoshop and you understand bleed and cuts and margins, I wouldn't do it. We have a template. If you're a marketing ninja and you can actually design a kick-ass postcard and you know what bleed and cut and margin and DPI is, we have a template we can send you, and you can do it. We've sent Ryan the template already. So I'm excited to release it. I'm also kind of nervous about what we're going to get back.
Right.
And I know Mark's just going to reject it. He's just going to be like, not in my house, bang. He's going to get that shit right off his. He's like, I'm not going to print that garbage. And I don't blame him. Like, that's what he's there for. So it's going to be interesting. But yes, custom fronts are almost here.
Yes. Well, that went a lot longer than I expected. So that was...
Isn't it always?
Yeah.
It's a podcast, brother. I get to monologue. Go deep.
I also, just from the replies in there, you also mentioned SendGym, because they always kind of ask about postcard alternatives and things like that.
Deeper integration to SendGym is something that we've got on our short-term radar, right?
Yep.
And what I'd like to do is put a SendGym and a Fill My Schedule option in the drip campaigns. How badass is that? Then you could just set up Fill My Schedule using drip, either using SendGym sequences or ServiceMonster stuff. So if you wanted to go with a cheap, low-cost postcard, cool, right? You could do it pretty easy. We're going to lose business out of it, I'm sure. But it's not about us. It's about them.
Yep.
Making sure that you guys get what you need in order to run your business. You want to send cheap-ass postcards, that's on you.
That's a Jake Kowalski. I'm just So the
No, wait. Josh Latimer doesn't sell cheap-ass postcards. He also sells brownies and cards and all kinds of other stuff.
There's flowers in there too, I think, right?
I think so, yeah. In addition to the cheap-ass postcards. And they're not cheap. They're not inexpensive for a postcard, but they're not, they're better quality than what I want to ship, which is why we don't do them. Right? He has a third party, so they're good. They're good. That's right. That's how I want to say that. But that other stuff is choice, like a brownie. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
The post job thank you stuff that they have is
seriously
fantastic.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the next two posts are both kind of talking about job reminders. And the reason I included them both is they kind of have some different things that they're talking about. But we've gotten a lot of hits on this, I feel like, since we mentioned it on the first or second podcast.
Yeah, it seems like there's some people who don't know about job reminders or how they work.
So what we're going to do for the first one, Teresa wrote in just kind of asking how to do it. And you replied to her. And we'll just link the video on here. You really just kind of want to get out that you can send these automated reminders. You can even do them manually if you prefer to have a little bit more control over it. It's really easy to set up. I mean, it takes 5 minutes, if that. As long as you have a template ready to go, boom. So
the concept here is, and there's two ways to do it. The first way is through the quick ad, right?
Yep.
If you don't have anything set up at all, you can, in the quick ad, say, for this job, I want to set up a reminder, and I want to set up what do we do?
You do the confirmation
and a reminder.
Yep.
Right? They're two different things, the way we look at them. The reminder is I'm coming right this second, or like in 2 hours, or like this morning.
So the reminder, it has to have the reminder itself set up. You just say, is it 24 hours, 48 hours, 12 hours?
And the confirmation is?
The confirmation is just you letting them know, hey, I got you scheduled.
Right.
This is the time frame that we discussed on the phone. Please make sure you're going to be at your house and that this is going to work out.
Yeah. So the idea here would be you're on the phone, you schedule the job, you set up the confirmation, you set up the reminder. You close the thing, and let's just say the confirmation goes right away, and it's an email that just says, thank you for scheduling with us. Here's your date and time. Here's the things you can be ready for. Maybe send them some instructions or some videos to your website. This is your first opportunity to say, we got you, and oh, by the way, here's some info if you need. So then 2 days goes by, then their appointment's tomorrow, and you send them maybe even via text or email a reminder. Hey, just a reminder, we're going to be at your house tomorrow. Some people hate this because it makes people cancel, and some people love it because it keeps people from canceling.
Yep.
And it just really depends on what your demographic looks like and what's their behavior and all that kind of stuff. So that's it. That's super easy. And you can do that, set that up from the quick ad. You can also, though, automate the whole damn thing, right?
Yep.
Set it up ahead of time so you can say my confirmations go X amount of time and my reminders go Y amount of time and my confirmations are text or email and vice versa, or same thing via the reminder. And then every job you schedule falls into that category, right? There is a way to break it up, though, isn't it?
What do you mean by break it up? Like as
I'm putting you on the spot here from Training Guy. Sure. And this is a feature this is where we start to get in features that Joe doesn't know 100% about, which is a very interesting place for me. Like there's whole areas of the app starting to emerge now that I don't know anything about.
Right.
And that's all user driven. So that's amazing to me. But in this case, I think when you're setting up jobs, or setting up automated reminders, you have some sort of a categorization or group or something you can trigger off of. Do you remember what that is?
So the way that they're set up is you have the option initially, like you already mentioned, with the email versus text. Everything else is just centered around before or after the job, or you can set it to a job time rather than a set like time frame. But there isn't necessarily a group outside of residential versus commercial.
I thought I saw something here. And 6 on a touchscreen is a dream. What am I looking at? Job reminders.
2 hours later.
Was there something else that like you wanted to have included with it and just maybe never got?
No, I actually thought I saw something. I was quite to all customers, residential or commercial.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the twist. Okay, so you can set up notification and job settings that are different for residential or commercial clients.
And I would definitely recommend if you're doing text, residential only. You
Yeah.
don't really want to be sending text messages to your
That's
commercial
right.
clients.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to set all that up ahead of time. Questions that are commonly asked, this information is available where? On the job screen? Like if I go to the job screen, I'll
Yes.
see.
So if you want to see the reminders that are pending, it'll be on the job screen. There's a little notifications tab. And that actually leads into the next question too, which is perfect.
Where can I find them if they've been sent or not?
Yeah, so that notification screen will show if they're pending, if they've been canceled, if they've been sent, what time they got sent. It's literally going to list all of them, and you can refresh them, delete them at any time.
Can you delete them after they've been sent? Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
I would hope that that's the use case. Yeah. No, so open the job, go to that notification setting, and you can see what the status is. And when it's sent, you'll know.
Yep. We'll have videos. We'll link those on this to get more of that visual rather than just listening to us.
Awesome. Very cool.
And so the follow-up to that is Corey was also talking about it for text, and he was mentioning sending a text to multiple phone numbers rather than just the one. Mm-hmm. And then it got brought up in the discussion about it because a bunch of people followed the requests, I guess, so to see what you would say.
Right.
And talked about the site contacts. And I just think it'd be interesting to discuss that just for a second because we mentioned this actually yesterday in the product meeting, doing the site contacts and sort of taking that into account when you look at the phone numbers. Not necessarily for this feature, but
Okay,
just...
yeah. Well, I mean, that's just, I don't want to talk about the new feature
That's
yet.
fine. Yep, that's fine.
Shh.
Sorry.
Okay. That was awkward. Yeah, so multiple emails, multiple texts to the account through automation. I haven't really put a huge amount of thought into it yet. I think I would have to talk to David and we would have to change the relationship a little bit and allow you then to basically manage all contact information from one place. And it gets into a whole can of worms.
Yep.
Really fast. So if we do it, it's going to be a bigger feature change than just for this screen. It would be a whole, how do you manage contacts in general? And interestingly enough, what was it, 12 years ago, I designed the dang database so that you can have multiple contacts per account, not just through the site. And so we want to expose that kind of stuff too, but managing resources, right?
Yep.
This is the first question that I've heard about. I want to set it up for one account to get multiple notifications on multiple streams of contact methods, multiple email addresses, multiple texts via texting phone numbers. So yeah, I think we'll definitely eventually let it happen. I don't think it's very high on the priority list. This is the power of SMUG. If you're hearing the podcast and you vehemently disagree with me, put a SMUG post on there and see if you can rally the troops to prove me wrong. I love it.
Great stuff there. Sorry for the little hush.
I'm joking. Totally joking.
So another post that came up that I thought was interesting because we just had a blog post about this was, is there a way to blacklist a customer in 5? And so I guess I really just kind of wanted to make note of the account memo using the alert system.
Yeah.
And if you just kind of want to touch really quickly on that blog post, and that you will have this come up, that you have to kind of fire a customer. So
yeah, that's true. Michael did an incredible job. He befriended a pressure washer who had a experience everybody's got to fire customers once in a while. We have to do it a couple times a year. I call it chopping the baby in half because I take all the data away. I shut down all logins until I can talk to both parties and be like, what the hell is going on? And there's never been a time when that initial phone call hasn't resulted in me knowing exactly what the hell is going on. One of them's always lying and one of them is always telling the truth. And it's amazing how predictable that is. Anyway, yeah, so you fire a customer. This one was kind of over the top, though. They have a whole story about it, and they wrote it up on a blog post. So I would encourage you to go to our blog site and read that because it was from their own words. So new little jujitsu from Michael and getting somebody to write a blog post for us.
Yes. Yes.
But it's good material. It's great content. So in ServiceMonster, it's pretty easy. In 5 and 6, we have this header section of the account, and it carries itself much better around in 6 than it does in 5.
Oh yeah.
But it does it in 5 too. It's kind of like, oh yeah, it needs to be visible here, as opposed to it's really built in 6. But you use a combination of the alert field, the memo field, and the alert field will say, whoop whoop, there's an issue, pay attention, and the memo field will identify what the attention is. Sometimes it'll be a VIP client. Sometimes it'll be fire this client.
Yep.
If you want to fire the client so they really don't come up, although you want to keep all the history and everything they do, deactivate them. They'll no longer show up in basic searches. You'll have to physically go to all accounts in order to find deactivated clients. And so that's the way you can kind of keep them off the list.
It's actually really important there, too, that he noted deactivate. If you delete them, then they'll call back in, and if you're not, you won't know. Exactly.
And you lose the history anyways.
Yep.
I mean, even if they were a jerk, if they gave you some money, that's history that you need to keep around because you got paid.
Yep. Deleting an account should be a pretty rare thing that has to happen for cleanup or whatever reasons. Deactivate should always be kind of the first.
And I love the delete roadblocks we put in for 6 for orders and accounts. We almost never get, oh no, I deleted the wrong order, which we used to get for 5. And we probably still do because there's still enough 5 users. And David would have to go to a rollback and, it takes forever to pluck one order out and then put it in the other database.
There's actually a
surgery, man.
Fun story about that. One of my very first support calls that I was doing on my own was about that, and I had to learn how to get that to David. And it was just, that's the only time I've seen it come up, though.
Oh, so. Good. Yeah, on 6 it should be.